Hey folks, welcome to Guitar Daily. It's Nick Granville coming to you from Wellington, New Zealand. So today I thought I'd talk about the PRS DGT SE. I just got this guitar a week ago. It had some issues with it. I'm definitely going to discuss those. Some things I like about it, and there's some things that kind of weren't great, to be honest. So let's start with the good stuff, because that's always a place to start. First thing. It just sustains for ages. It reminds me of a Les Paul in that sense. Just loads and loads of sustain. The second thing I'd say about it too is it's a super versatile instrument. The first thing I was really impressed with is how well the pickups work. So that's neck pickup. Now both pickups. Now bridge pickup. So all of those work really well. Right. I should say before I go any further that I paid for this guitar. This is not sponsored. Nobody at Paul Reed Smith knows I'm making this. I'm not an endorsee of theirs. I'm just a session musician from Wellington, New Zealand. I bought this guitar for a specific kind of gig, which is We Will Rock You that I'm doing. I wanted a guitar that does a lot of different things. So yeah, this is a review. Anyway, next one, coil tap. So neck pickup. This is humbucker. This is coil tap. So you do lose a little bit of volume, but it's not drastic, right? And then both pickups, humbuckers, and then single coil. So super usable for that. And then bridge pickup humbucker. And single coil. So yeah, so all of those are super useful. The tremolo is nice. To me, I actually didn't have a guitar that had two humbuckers and a tremolo with good coil tapping. I didn't have a guitar that covered that, so that's partly why I got this. The neck is fairly sizable. It's not a small neck. To me, it kind of reminds me of slightly smaller, more comfortable 59 Les Paul shape. I like the 59 Les Paul. I like big necks on guitars. Some people don't. I totally get it. It's got some unique features about it. This guitar, this is your bridge pickup volume. This one here is actually your neck pickup volume. And this one here is a tone control with a push-pull on it. And that's one of the issues. We'll talk about that. But it, yeah, it's kind of takes a bit to get used to because you're so used to that being the neck pickup, right? And yet it's the bridge pickup on this guitar. I often find myself kind of getting the wrong one, but that's cool. Anyway, back is all fine. I think it's a three-piece neck. I've heard people say that. I can't actually tell. You can't see. To me, that doesn't matter. I don't think one-piece or three-piece. Three-piece is probably stronger, to be honest. There are high-end guitars that have done three-piece before. The Ibanez JS series comes to mind, for example. To me, it doesn't matter. It's like, how does the guitar function? And as I said, this has got loads of sustain. It's probably stronger by having three pieces too, because the glue is stronger than the wood, no doubt. mahogany body, mahogany neck, a maple top with a veneer, whatever it is. Yeah, so all of that's cool, right? Lots of sustain, works really well with overdrive. See, there I had to think about which control I was using. Now, the bad things with this guitar, right? I've seen a lot of people review these guitars, and it's all glowing and stuff, and there's a lot of reasons to buy them. They're good instruments. I don't know, that wasn't my experience of this. This thing came, and the pickups were touching the strings. You couldn't play a note because they were literally touching the strings. Now, I don't know if that's the music shop here in New Zealand who had messed with it, but it was unplayable. I'm not kidding. So in the shop I said, have you got a screwdriver? And we put the pickups down so I could actually make a note. And then I noticed it was buzzing all across the neck and the action was really low. Now I suspect what had happened is they'd probably changed the strings and maybe gone to a lighter gauge, which meant the bridge sat back and everything wasn't where it should be. Pretty poor of the music shop not to kind of check it before it came, especially know it's going to a pro player like me. But anyway, it was unusable. The nut was really high. Surprisingly, I don't have any video of it because I tried it in the shop and then they sent it off to be fixed. The nut didn't come right to the edge here. It was actually like about 2 millimeters in set on this side and was really high. Like if you held down this fret and you did that, it was like about 2 millimeter gap under it. Again, unplayable, unacceptable for this sort of level of instrument. Now I know these are Indonesian made guitars, but these are at the higher end of Indonesian made guitars because they're supposed to be a premium quality. The fret ends were just about perfect. There was no issue there at all. You know, so anyway, they sent it off to be set up. It came back. It played better. It played in tune. Intonation was good. The nut had been replaced with a graphite nut, which was a big improvement on what it was before, which wasn't cut properly. So now it has a graphite nut in it, and I was able to try it. I bought it. I was impressed with this guitar, so I went, yeah, and there was still some things with it. Now, the first thing, this push-pull design is total rubbish. To be honest, if you have a shiny pot like this one that's smooth, you try getting it and gripping it. It just slides off. So what I've done with this particular one, and you probably can't see it in the video, but I actually got a screwdriver and scratched it all up. So my one looks a bit hoary, but actually now I can grab it and it's not going to slide out of my fingers. It does a little bit, but I'd much rather it had some kind of texture on it for that. Because the coil tapping, you know, you want to be able to get that to happen. The second thing was the knob kept coming off, like constantly. You'd pull it up and it would just come off. Then you put it back on and try and find the right place to put it on so it would hold. Bizarre, isn't it? That was the design. I think that's a major problem, right? So like I said, I got a screwdriver and I scratched it up. I'm going to try and find some other kind of replacement with a knurled edge or something so I can actually grip it, but that's not a good thing. Second thing, I was playing this guitar and I noticed there was a bit of buzzing on the bridge pickup. So I opened up the cavity here and I found that the earth wasn't attached. Now, it had 2 stickers on here saying inspected by and a signature, right? Yet the earth wasn't attached. The wire was sticking up. So I got the soldering iron out and I just soldered it back on. And it worked okay. And then I took it to someone yesterday and I got him to resolder it properly because mine was just a quick job. But poor, right? Poor standard to have that. You'd be wondering for a while, you know, maybe, why is it buzzing? Because it wasn't earthed properly and it was signed off. Now again, the music shop you'd think would check that, but they didn't. Another thing was this jack plug was super loose. It was like wiggling around in there. It's one area I think where they cut back on costs. And so I had that replaced. This one here is now solid. Before it was terrible. Not really good enough, you know, in terms of what it was. The pots do feel a little bit cheap. None of these actually run straight, like the knob doesn't. It kind of wavers as it moves around, which is fine. It's not a big deal. I don't really care about that. As long as it functions, which it does. So the solution with this one, what we did was my tech put a screwdriver in the pot and opened it out a little bit and then shoved it on so it's on there good and tight now. Yeah, so those are real bummers. So the bummers were, this was really loose, it wasn't earthed, the nut was cut like crap, the action was slow and buzzy, all things that could be fixed. Now you might be wondering, like, with all those issues, why did I buy it? Well, because it sounds great. The key thing to me is the body, the pickups, and the neck. Everything else I can work on. The only other modification I'm going to do, and I'll do it at some point, I haven't done it yet, but I am going to put locking tuners on this. It does go out of tune a little bit. I'm not a huge whammy bar user. Like I'll do something like this. That's about the extent of how I use a tremolo or whammy bar, but that was still enough to make it go out of tune, which was surprising. I'd have thought it would have been fine with that, but I am actually going to put locking tuners on this. I think it should have come with locking tuners, but it didn't. But I think it needs locking tuners. So if you're going to buy this guitar, and you got one that was working, the upgrades I would do, I would have probably replaced the nut anyway for something of better quality, a bone nut, or in this case graphite. They used whatever. I'd replace the input jack, I'd replace the tuners, and that's about it, and definitely get it set up with the strings you want. I've gone to 10 to 46 elixirs. I don't know what was on there, but they were pretty horrible. This weren't strings I liked. So I'm used to elixirs, I put them on, and then of course you have to have the bridge reset, so that's why I took it to my tech. Anyway, I hope this has been useful. These are fantastic guitars. This is an amazing guitar. I bought it. I wouldn't have bought it if it was rubbish, but it had some issues, so I think it's just worth people knowing about those. If you like what I've shown you today, please subscribe. I'll play you out with some various different tones now, and it's everything from clean to various degrees of breakup and all the different pickup settings. Hey, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here and being part of this community and what I do with this guitar daily thing, my daily thing on YouTube. So thanks so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.